Hi, everybody. I am really, really excited to talk to my next guest, Kyle Mann, editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee and co-author of, quote, How to Be a Perfect Christian, Your Comprehensive Guide to Living Flawlessly, Flawless Spiritual Living, unquote. Kyle, some great stuff there. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You have created the Babylon Bee, which is just an incredibly fantastic satirical site. In this really weird modern age we live in of undereducating kids, it is staggering to me how many kids and people, adults, don't get satire. It seems to go right past them. Your Babylon Bee is a fantastic website for this. Talk a little bit about where you got the idea from and what your objectives are.
Yeah, my friend Adam Ford actually launched the site a couple years ago, and I joined pretty much right away in that first week. And it was kind of something where we had a lot of satire and a lot of comedy out there that was making all of these points in a hilarious way, but most of them were done from kind of a secular perspective. And so we wanted to introduce something that would do some satire with a purpose, with a point, hopefully make people laugh, make people think after they're finished laughing, all from kind of a Christian worldview, whether that's talking about the wider secular culture or more church culture and theology, those kinds of topics.
I actually think what you guys do is funnier than most of what they do at The Onion, right? Which is the sort of default satirical publication this way. I got to ask, is the Babylon Bee, is that a commentary on the book of Isaiah and this idea that God was going to, for all those people who have wandered away from the truth, God was going to send his bees from the north to sting them back into righteousness? Is there a parallel there?
I don't know if it was that deep, but definitely this idea that we're as believers, living in the world, kind of this wider world that's increasingly secular. A lot of times it does feel like we're living in Babylon and we're in exile until we finally make it to our true home.
How does it feel? I mean, you must have lots of stories to tell. You guys write some devastating, I think, but very straight-faced and wry, but very devastating satires. Do you find that a lot of people misunderstand you? Is it mostly the left who's reacting to what you're saying, or is it Christians too that are kind of falling for the seeming literalacy of everything?
Yeah, people who misunderstand or don't appreciate the satire come from all sides. Whether that's the left or the right or the middle. It kind of, whenever somebody's own sacred cow gets gored, that's when they get upset or or mistake it because it's something that they really want to be true, or really they're kind of predisposed to believe something, and so then they'll share it thinking it's real or won't appreciate the satire or whatever.
What kind of responses do you get? Do people write you nasty notes? Do they threaten to boycott you? What kind of especially when you've got people who are theoretically on our side completely misunderstanding what you're saying? What kinds of ways do they try to get your attention to let you know they're unhappy?
Oh, it's all the normal stuff. It's emails. People will let us know in the comments if they don't like a particular angle or they think something's. Or they don't understand, they think something's real, they don't understand that it's satire. So you see it in the comments, you'll see it in on Twitter, Facebook, email, we get all the usual avenues.
Give us an example, of one story that you did recently that you thought really had a big reaction, that people really immediately were paying attention to and forwarding. Give us an example of one story of yours that you think went viral.
It depends. Mostly every day, or at least we hope every day, we get ones that are kind of getting spread far and wide. Even beyond our Christian culture. Even beyond that kind of little circle that we're sharing in. We did one yesterday where we said that the Obamas were going to share all their profits. They're going to donate all their profits from their new Netflix deal to combating wealth inequality. So just kind of making fun of this idea that people who campaign on wealth inequality and talking about being for the common man, just being just absolute multimillionaires after a few years in public service. So that one is one where it kind of took off right away and started getting shared beyond our own circles, and kind of got out of our control pretty quickly.
And I'll bet you there are people on the left who are going to use that from now for the next 20 years to brag about how selfless the Obamas are, right?
Yeah, I'm sure Snopes is already working on a fact check for us.
I love the one you had up today about with a picture of Nancy Pelosi, in which the Democrat Party is beginning to worry that by promoting abortion so much, they're killing future donors. All right, I mean, that one made me laugh out loud because it's two major constituencies: the pro-abort faction of the Democrat Party and the "give us all your money" faction of the Democrat Party, which is the same faction, really, and how they're at odds with themselves. Many people have pointed out before that Democrat abortion laws are actually predominantly aborting more Democrat babies. But I thought that was a very funny way you handled that and showed both sides of that angle there.
Yeah, abortion is a topic that we go after pretty regularly, and that's one that we won't hold back at all when we're talking about Planned Parenthood and abortion. So that's something we go after all the time.
Do you ever get accused of lying? People, again, who don't get the satire, is lying something that you get? I would imagine there would be some angry liberal voices with no senses of humor that see you as just kind of a lying site. Are people trying to shut you down? Is Facebook or Twitter trying to come after you for fake news?
We did have that one issue where we posted the article saying that CNN had purchased an industrial-sized washing machine to spin the news, and kind of a pretty silly piece. And Snopes fact-checked it, and then Facebook fed off of Snopes' fact-check and warned us and started warning our readers, that we were sharing fake news. And so that was concerning for us. Obviously, we don't want to really be beholden to the worldviews of the people who are on Facebook or Google or Twitter. So that was concerning. Facebook did come out and say it was a mistake and apologize, after it kind of blew up all over the internet and people were getting upset about it. So, but we don't really know if that's something that's going to pop up in the future or not, but it's definitely a concern for us.
I was thinking you ought to do at some point a spoof of Snopes, this organization that considers itself a fact checker that's stacked top to bottom with radical liberal progressive voices, right? There's not a single non-progressive investigating the internet, and we wonder why certain things get flagged and certain don't.
Yeah, we've done a couple of things on Snopes. I think after that happened, we said that Snopes rated us the most reliable news source on the internet. Yeah, and I think just a few minutes ago we published one on PolitiFact saying that they just went ahead and said everything that Donald Trump ever has said or will say in the future is a lie. So no matter how small it is, and so we're always trying to kind of go after that. That there's this kind of liberal elite that is controlling a lot of what we see on the internet.
Well, let's move on to your book now, your new book, How to Be a Perfect Christian. Some of your chapters include, and these titles just get me laughing too, Joining the Right Church, Worshiping Like a Pro, Serving in Church Without Ever Lifting a Finger, and Looking Really Spiritual Online. I'm disappointed as a longtime Christian, a modern Christian. Where was the chapter on embracing your inner gay Jesus? I mean, where is that? How can you have a comprehensive guide to being a good Christian without embracing the gay lifestyle of the Savior?
Well, you need to read the chapter on believing all the right things. But we have a chapter on with a systematic theology, and that would kind of be encompassed because we say in there, if you that you're amazing and you're special, and God would never say anything that you would personally disagree with. So that would kind of fall under that umbrella.
Well, too, and I think we must always remember as we wind down here that Jesus himself had quite a sarcastic streak, didn't he? The way he would turn on his own disciples. Do you not yourselves understand? I like to think that Jesus would have enjoyed your sense of humor immensely than the frustration that comes from dealing with people. Kyle, tell everybody, all our listeners, where can they find your website and how do they buy your book?
Yeah, our website is babylonb.com, and our book is kind of plastered all over that page, and you can buy the book on Amazon, at local bookstores, wherever books are sold.
Kyle Mann, editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee and co-author of How to Be a Perfect Christian. It has been a great, great pleasure to speak with you. Keep up the good work.